And the number of survivors is down to 9 as the Tribal Council claims another victim. It's early this Thursday morning, the 13th of July, 2000.
From Fifth Avenue in the heart of New York City, it's Bryant Gumbel and Jane Clayson. This is The Early Show on CBS.
And good morning. Welcome to The Early Show on this Thursday morning, Survivor Thursday around here. Jane, surprised it was Gretchen?
I was so surprised. You weren't?
Well, I can't say I was or wasn't. I mean, the fact that 7 different people got votes suggested there wasn't any clear-cut favorite, so it may as well have been her.
A lot of people thought she'd go all the way. They were placing bets on her in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't think she had the potential to go all the way.
The Tagi Tribe Alliance really killed her.
Yeah.
Those 4 votes.
The 4 horsemen of the whatever.
They're mean.
Yeah, it was pretty mean. We're going to be talking with Gretchen Cordy at 8:15 this morning. We'll also be convening our Survivor Roundtable in just a little bit. We'll also check in on our own Big Apple survivors who've been on a citywide scavenger hunt. We'll see why the Andy Griffith Show is being used to teach morality in some churches. And Bob Vila's here this morning to mend some fences. Literally. Right, Cynthia, thank you. Last night on Survivor, it was lights out for Gretchen Cordy. 38-year-old homemaker from Tennessee was the latest victim of the Tribal Council. The vote came as the 2 tribes emerged into one. Now, as we do every Thursday, we've convened an eclectic Survivor Roundtable, which this week includes Leslie Gold, whose moniker is the Radio Chick here in New York, Elaine Flores of Soap Opera Digest, and Phil Porter, author of Eat or Be Eaten, Jungle Warfare for the Master Corporate Politician, maybe Richard's story. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Was it a better show or a worse show, 1 tribe instead of 2? What you think?
Much better. Much better.
Why?
This, I think, was the best show that we've had so far.
Come on.
Yeah, I really do. Well, first of all, the strategy has changed. Just by the nature of who got voted out, we have no foreshadowing with Gretchen. Usually we know somebody is being lazy or they're infuriating the other tribal members. There was no foreshadowing with Gretchen, and she, I think, was voted out because she was potentially the most rock-solid competitor, not because she was the
weakest. That's what Jane thinks. I disagree. What do you guys think?
I think it's every man for himself now, and that's what makes it so exciting.
What do you think?
Well, I sat there and looked at the stats, and Gretchen had never been voted against. And I said, well, Gretchen's safe. But then I realized later in the show, and they only gave you about 1 sentence, but it was, she refused to join in the alliance. So she was kind of sitting there with 2 groups between, she just got squeezed right out.
So you think the alliance played a role, and you think the alliance played a role?
Oh, sure. And the fact that Gretchen removed herself from the alliance, it's like life. She was formidable. She was a little bit threatening. She was rock solid, but she wouldn't play politics, and it cost her.
But if it was formidable, why wouldn't they have voted off one of the guys? Because the 5 guys showed themselves to be the strongest in the underwater challenge.
Oh, please. What do you think? Jervis is a strong competitor? I can't believe he's dodged a bullet this long.
Come on, you don't think Jervis is going to last a while, huh?
Jervis thinks he's Dean Martin at a cocktail party.
You don't like him either?
No, Jervis isn't pulling his weight. Jervis is out of there.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't believe Jervis has lasted this long. He's cost them a number of challenges.
Well, but so is Kelly, and Kelly's still sticking around.
Kelly only cost 1 or 2. Jervis is the only guy on the island.
Kelly has shown herself to be real weak.
But Jervis needs swimmies. He's on an island surrounded by water. I mean, who'd he beat out for that slot? Someone that couldn't walk?
7 different people got votes last night. What does that say about what's going on with this 1 tribe now?
We haven't formed any new alliances yet. Things are still in flux. As we get further along, there'll be more people coalescing together to try to squeeze others out.
She's over there nodding her head. You agree?
I totally agree with that. And I think it's also the first time that we've seen the existing alliance come into play. Richard and the other dirty players.
Susan and Kelly.
Right.
With Rudy on the outside of this alliance.
Yeah, and that will come back to haunt them, I think. It is so clear that there's something going on to the other, the former Pagongs, if you will, that I think either another alliance will be formed or someone like Jenna will try and sniff out the alliance that exists and ally herself with it.
How long do you see this alliance lasting?
I think it's going to last for a while unless they get rid of Richard.
Is Richard playing the corporate game in the perfect fashion?
Well, he's the only one that appears to be playing it to me. But I find it interesting, of everybody they have on the survivors, none are really corporate politicians. They're all, you know, working people, as in fact.
Except for Richard's kind of a corporate trainer, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's the training.
Oh, doesn't count. Is this is this a glorified soap opera?
Yes, absolutely. You've got the intrigue, you've got the drama, you've even got romance.
Oh, come on. Now, it was a try at romance last night. It didn't look like anybody was really trying.
Why didn't they just give Sean a condom and make it completely transparent? You know, bring in Tony Bennett to serenade them. They couldn't have been any more transparent trying to get something going there.
You do this, you do a Survivor Roundtable for like 4 hours every week on,
well,
on
we
your
do
show.
a wrap-up every week,
Yeah.
and we had our own version of the game.
Right. Is there a consensus favorite at this point among your listeners?
Susan is a big favorite.
You're kidding me.
Yes, because she's tough and she's dirty, but not too dirty. Richard is seen as completely dirty, plus the fact that he walks around naked is a complete irritation.
Why is
everyone.
Richard any dirtier than Susan?
Well, because Richard really spearheaded that alliance.
Yeah, but he's just smarter than her.
Yes, but he is smarter. Well, I don't know if he's smarter. He's more proactive. I think in the end, the fact that Richard has spearheaded this whole thing, he will not be the last to survive. It'll cost him.
You don't think so?
No, he's
Who's
not
going to
the-
be the last to survive?
Well, I would have picked Gretchen.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the last to survive?
My money's on Greg. I think he's going to be the Kaiser Soze that nobody takes seriously, and then he's going to outlast them all.
Even though next week he figures to nuke Colleen.
Yeah, I don't think Colleen has any power.
Oh, yeah?
No.
Oh. By the way, did you think they were
Yeah,
canoodling?
definitely.
You did?
Definitely, yeah.
You did too?
I thought it was a ploy for the cameras.
Yeah? Did you think they were together? Were they an item?
Don't know.
Oh, okay. Who's your pick now at this point to win
I
it all?
like Rudy.
You're kidding me. Rudy, by the way, deserves Comeback of the Year award.
I love Rudy.
I mean,
but
this guy was with Jervis in terms of a couple of weeks ago being out of here, and Rudy's come back.
He got 3 votes the first round, 2 votes the second, third, and then 0. Okay. And
So you like Rudy?
I love Rudy. He'll never make it.
All right. We'll try to find out. Phil Porter, Elaine Flores, Leslie Gold. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Reminder that ahead in our next hour, just about exactly 1 hour from now, Gretchen Cordy will be here for her first live interview.
It's getting down and dirty on Survivor. Last night, the 2 tribes merged into one called Ratana. But that didn't stop a small group of Taggy members from closing ranks and voting a Pagong member off the island.
Gretchen, is it too soon to think that strategies might shift?
I think people who are strategically playing the game, you know, strategy has changed for them.
How so?
Well, from who's strongest in your tribe to keep, now who's strongest in this one tribe to get rid of because they're your biggest competition.
Oh my God.
Gretchen. Gretchen.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's me.
The tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go. Bye.
Gretchen Cordy is a preschool teacher, a wife, and a mother of 2 from Clarksville, Tennessee. Gretchen, good morning.
Good morning.
We were just watching that, and I said they cheered for you. You said, I know, it makes me cry.
It does. It makes me sad.
Why?
It's kind of like leaving summer camp where you get to meet everybody. You don't really get to say goodbye. You know, he just extinguishes you and off you go, and you don't get to. There's no closure to it. You just walk down the plank, and that's the end.
And what were you thinking when you walked down that plank?
It's just because it had been 21 days up to that point, and it's a strange transition because you're there and you're thinking the whole island thing, and do we have enough rice and everything. Then all of a sudden it's like we walk down the plank and it's reality again. So
and you really were surprised when you said, it's me. It's me.
Well,
I had no idea.
Jeff sets that up. He's off to the side there setting those names up, and so it had been so and so and so and so, and so then all of a sudden it's bang, bang, bang. It's like, oh, it's me.
Well, when Jeff asked you about the strategy and you said that the strongest person is the most vulnerable person as this all changes, did you ever think that maybe you were vulnerable?
I think you always think from the time you get on there that it could be at any moment, whether it's because you had a tiff with somebody or, you know, because somebody thinks maybe you did well at a challenge. And so, I mean, you always find yourself vulnerable, I think,
Yeah.
except Jervis. He doesn't find himself.
I know. He's a Teflon guy. Everything just sort of slides off him. What's up with that?
To his credit, he really is, he's very charming. He's a very, very nice guy. And he doesn't make, well, I gotta take that back.
Except for the cow comments.
I never took that seriously. He never treated me, you know, in a condescending fashion. He never, you know.
He was just sort of a jokester. He just sort of said that stuff.
And, you know, he brought in firewood, and he did, you know, if you asked him, you know, Jervis, could you do this? He would do stuff.
He wasn't lying around all the time.
No, he wasn't.
You got to tell me, though, what you think of that alliance from the Toggy tribe that really killed you. Richard, Rudy, Kelly, and Sue.
I think that they had a goal in mind, which was to win the $1 million. And I think their goal didn't change while they were there. I mean, I had that goal, too, when I first got there. And not that I wouldn't, you know, have gladly taken the check, but I think when I saw what it would take personally, you know, the politicalness and
that just wasn't in you?
the deceit and the whole business, I'm not capable of that. Even for $1 million, I couldn't do it. I'm not saying that, you know, I think they're wrong or that they're immoral or whatever. I just couldn't do that.
So even
know?
if you had to do it again, knowing what you know now, you still wouldn't change.
I mean, I knew they had the alliance, and I knew that their alliance...
You knew going into the tribal vote that they had that alliance?
I did know.
You did?
Well, I wasn't, you know, sure. They had kept saying, no, no, there isn't. Sue said no. Kelly said no. Rich said no, there is no alliance. And but Rich had asked somebody, a producer, you know, he wanted to make clear the fact that if you got the immunity, as Greg had won the immunity, if you had gotten that immunity and no one could vote you off, were you still able to vote? And the only reason that that would come into play is if they needed all those votes. Because if you got immunity and you weren't working with an alliance, what did it matter whether you got to vote or not? So I knew that that was the reason he asked. I knew there was an alliance, but...
So do you dislike Sue as much as we all do?
No.
Do you dislike Richard as much as we all do?
No, I don't. I mean, you know, Richard went with the goal of winning that $1 million. He was going to do it, whatever it took. It was a game, and it was supposed to be a game, and it was to me until I got there and met my tribe. And I mean, everybody was so nice. I love Joel. I mean, they're very nice people. And each time we went to vote, I nearly had like a stroke thinking I had to vote somebody. And
well, when Ramona was here, it caused a bit of an uproar because when I asked her about a description for each of the people, she said that you were a survivor. And everybody thought, oh, that means she's it. That means she's going to go all the way.
I think Ramona just meant I was good at surviving. I mean, Ramona and I had clashed a little bit in the beginning. She wanted to open the can. We had gotten some cans, and she wanted to open them right away. And I kept telling her, this is the way you do it, and this is, you know. And I think as we went on, she saw that some of the things that I had been saying to her made sense. And I think she just thought I made smart survival decisions, but I mean, Ramona knew. Ramona saw me at the hotel, and we had lunch together, so Ramona knew.
So would you do it again?
I would do it again. I would do it again in a minute. I would lose again, I'm sure. But I would do it again.
We've got more questions for you. A lot of people emailed us about you. A lot of people really liked you, and we've got their questions. We're going to head back to our local stations for some news. So stick there, and we'll be back at 8:30 to talk with Gretchen some more. We'll be right back. This is The Early Show on CBS.
The Survivor Update sponsored by Dr. Scholl's. Survival is easier with Dr. Scholl's products. Treat yourself right.
Sing along with us, Jay. Back with the early show on this Thursday morning. I like the horn stuff. I'm not crazy about the oi, oi, oi.
I love it when they come out of the mud and you see the eyes.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, anyway, we're back at 8:30 where it's time for our Survivor Scorecard. That's our weekly update on which castaways are still in the hunt for $1 million prize. We should never lose sight of that, by the way. The winner does get $1 million. We don't do this just for our own benefit.
But it's all about the adventure, right? That's what they all say. Right.
Yeah.
If you were watching Survivor last night, you know the Tagi and the Pagan tribes were joined into a single new tribe called Ratana. 9 competitors are left now: Colleen, Jervis, Greg, Jenna, Susan, Kelly, Richard, Rudy, and Sean. Gretchen Cordy was the first person voted off the island under the new rules last night. She's set to answer some of your email questions now. We've got a lot of them for you. Everybody really, really liked you. One woman, Karen, writes, "You're a true survivor. It was apparent from the beginning. How can a show called Survivor how can it be called Survivor when the real survivors will be systematically voted off because they show signs of being a true survivor? Doesn't this leave the weakest? So aren't they voting the strongest ones off now? Is it more about politics rather than, athletic skill or anything else?"
First of all, Karen, the check is in the mail. No, this is my mom. No. Survivor doesn't necessarily mean survivor skills, island skills. I mean, there's a whole new set of survivor skills, and to survive on that island, it's not just making fires and catching rats. It's about the inner political, keeping yourself there. So
didn't you say you were kind of surprised that it wasn't so survivalist as you thought it might be?
I was when I first got there. I thought more that it was going to be more of a survival contest, and then it was a quick awakening. I think BB thought the same thing. He thought it was a lot of survival. There really wasn't time to really survive. At first I thought, well, what is this? All this, here's all you can eat rice. Here's a basket of fruit that mysteriously appears. And I had set myself up for a lot harder, my mindset.
And you had the training. You spent 6 years as an Air Force survivalist trainer, correct?
Right, I did. And so, I thought I was really prepared for it, but I wasn't prepared like you needed to be prepared. And I understood now, the reason for the food and everything. We had a lot of competitions. There wasn't time to really survive. If
you're busy doing all those interviews.
You're busy doing interviews. You're busy hiking to the tribal council, hiking back. I mean, if you were really keeping yourself alive, you wouldn't be doing all that camera thing.
I wonder if in Survivor 2, the one in Australia, there might have to be some rule changes, because technically, if you're going to get people agreeing to do fee splitting, you can guarantee that one of you will be the winner going in. If the 4 of us are going in, we can say on the boat, let's all vote together every week, and no matter who wins, we'll each get $250,000.
That was in the contract, that you couldn't fee split. So this alliance that they formed, isn't to split the money. That we signed in the contract.
At least that we know of.
Well, I guess. I think, as it goes on, even I think if you agreed initially that you were going to split the money, as you got closer to the top, don't you think it would be, well...
If you're devious enough to go in the first place, you're devious enough to cutthroat your partner.
That's right. So someone's got to be the winner, and how are they going to force you to split the money with them when you signed a contract that said you couldn't make that agreement in the first place?
A lot of women had email questions about female hygiene.
Okay, I'm going to go. I'll see you in a little bit, all right? You guys let me know when they're...
Between us over here.
You're a wussy. Sit down and take it like a...
Were the ladies given razors when they got to the island, or did they all wax before coming?
Obviously, whoever wrote that wasn't watching last night, because there was some
major
there were some shots that I was a little... you could take a razor as your luxury item, and Sean, that was his luxury item.
He wanted to shave his chest, right?
And Sean told me when, the 2 days that we were together there, that he had offered his razor to the ladies on his tribe, and they could care less. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Are you regretful now that you didn't take seriously the real threat of the alliance from the Toggies?
I did take it seriously, and when everybody else was talking about it before we merged, I thought about it seriously. I couldn't, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it.
What ideas would you give the producers of the Survivor series that's going to be in Australia, the Outback?
I think it's interesting. I think it's successfully, and I think it's an interesting show, and I don't think they need any... I'll tell you, as long as we're talking about the crew and the producers and stuff, what a gang. When we're hiking through and it looks like we're having a rough time, they're walking backwards with those big cameras over there. Yeah. Those are the true survivors.
Yeah, but at night they have a cocktail and a steak.
They didn't have it so good. They didn't really have it so good. They'd come out and camp on, they do, I think, like 3-day shifts, and I think that one of them told me they hired a Malaysian cook, and so they'd get fish heads and things. That they lost a lot of weight too.
Gretchen, congratulations! Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good
and we
to
can
be
expect
here.
to see you in commercials pretty soon, right?
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
And her daughter's so proud of her. She's sitting over there.
She should be.
Ava, I know. I wondered if she missed her kids.
Yeah.
Did you miss? What about?
I did. When we weren't busy and there was downtime, I got really sad.
Well, Gretchen, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
36 past the hour.